So I guess of all things, we're getting a Justice League Task Force wave of DC Multiverse action figures. And I really don't know how to feel about this because on one hand, I think that this is kind of a cool idea. I mean, it's kind of obscure. It's this video game that came out on consoles like 30 years ago. But at the same time, it's kind of just this full-on normal Justice League wave that a lot of people I think are going to be interested in. So is this a wave of action figures that DC Comics collectors are going to want to have on their hands? Be sure you stick around till the end, guys, because we're going to talk about what other Justice League Task Force action figures we might want to see next. Alright, so for all you guys who don't know, Justice League Task Force was a fighting game that was published on the Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis back in like 1994, and it had 6 Justice League superheroes. It had Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, The Flash, Aquaman, and Green Arrow. You might notice that Martian Manhunter is missing this lineup. Why? I don't know. I guess maybe they couldn't figure out how to fit him in a fighting game. And then 3 villains also appeared. They had Darkseid, of course, but then they also had Cheetah and Despero. The whole thing followed a pretty boilerplate fighting game format. You fought a bunch of the other characters, and then you fought the villains, and then you won the game. And then each hero and villain had their superpowers that they could use as fighting moves during the course of each battle. I don't remember it being particularly great, but I don't remember it being particularly bad either. I remember it just kind of being there, and it was alright. So how the action figures stack up? Well, let's find out, guys. Let's start out with Aquaman. This is a pretty straight reuse, I think, of the traditional Aquaman body that we've seen a bunch of times already from McFarlane Toys. And honestly, it's not bad or anything. It looks fine for Aquaman. The head sculpt is a little odd though, because it's got the flowing hair, and I guess it's supposed to represent Aquaman underwater, which is cool. It's just, I don't know, every time you have free-flowing hair like this, it tends to look a little weird, but I don't mind it that much. I feel like I should, but it doesn't bother me that much. What I think bothers me more is the oddball expression on his face, because he just looks goofy. I don't know what's going on here. It looks like he's trying to scowl or something, but he just winds up looking like he smelled a fart. You might notice that there's cell shading on these, and the paint job is supposed to indicate the pixelated graphics from the video game, and honestly, I don't hate it. I got this gut feeling like I shouldn't like it, but the more I look at it from a distance, I think to myself, you know, that doesn't look bad. That kind of does look like it belongs in a Super Nintendo game. So touche, McFarlane Toys. You wound up making me like cell shading, which very rarely happens. Aquaman comes with a trident, and he also comes with the head and hands of Darkseid, along with a couple of special effects that go along with him. The second action figure we're going to look at is Superman. And is it just me, or is this not the infected Superman body? Because it doesn't look too much like it. It looks like it might be a different body, but also it's kind of hard to tell from some of the angles that I see on this. I don't know, but it looks okay. It doesn't look bad on him, I think. Not to mention, they don't have the weird cuffs on the sleeves anymore, and that's been something that's been bothering me for ages on Superman action figures from McFarlane Toys. Just want me a normal Superman, please and thank you, and this is getting pretty close to it. I gotta say though, the cell shading on Superman here is some of my least favorite of the entire wave, because, I don't know, those bright baby blues are just a little too bright on this one. They're really, really bright. Maybe if they were a little bit more of a middle blue, it would look a little better than it does here, but yeah, this is probably the worst cell shading in the entire wave right here. Really like the cloth cape though. I love what they're doing with these capes recently, dude. They look tremendous, and God, I'm really glad they decided to do this because it feels like a better value out of the package. I mean, cloth capes in 2024, yes! More of that, please. But also, dear God, that face sculpt. What is going on here? Like, this looks weird. I don't like the head sculpt. I wish it were different. I guess it looks like he's had a few too many doses of human growth hormone because, dear God, those jaw muscles are sticking out. He's really been eating, huh? He's just been chewing all day long, working those things. Yeah, buddy, keep on working those super mandible soups. Looks like he comes with the legs of Darkseid, Darkseid along with a couple of special effects. If you support what I do, please click subscribe and hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss a single video of mine when it comes out. And if you're enjoying this video about these Justice League Task Force action figures, please give it a like because that really helps me out. And these are, well, tough to put together, so thank you guys. Alright, next guy we're going to look at here is the Flash, and this looks like almost a straight redo of the Flashpoint Wave Flash. I think he's got a new head sculpt though, because I don't remember that head sculpt being like that. Also, I'm pretty sure that this is Wally West, and I love Wally West, so that's already a plus for me. I don't know, I kind of like this action figure, but it feels like they're rehashing that Blue Beetle body a little too much. Like, the lightning bolt belt on him looks great, but the lightning around his forearms is kind of just there. If that were sculpted texture, I think it would be, well, one, more visually interesting, so that the yellow paint wouldn't be blending in so much with the red and creating that transparency effect that looks kind of cheap. But, you know, it would just make it look nicer overall and it would feel nicer in your hands. Cell shading on this one is very minimal. I don't notice anything hardly, and that's probably the best case scenario. But his emblem on his chest is very pixelated, as to be expected. Every character is going to have that in this wave. And I don't know, maybe it's just the superheroes, but I feel like I'm a little bit of a sucker for that retro effect. Like, my mind tells me, hey SK, you shouldn't fall for such cheap tricks. But then, like, the fanboy in me says, I remember that video game. That was kind of fun playing that. Real talk though, I don't like the way his arms are so short compared to his legs. They feel a little bit off kilter, and I wish that McFarlane would have fixed that. Maybe it looks better when he's all posed up, but as he is, I don't know. It's alright, I still think it's a pretty decent action figure, and I don't think that anyone who wants a Justice League Task Force should say no to this. Looks like Flash comes with a torso of Darkseid, and he also comes with some special effects. Of course, no McFarlane wave of action figures would be complete without Batman! Oh god, how many Batmans has McFarlane made since I've been away? Oh, I'm really afraid to even look. You know what? I'm just gonna let myself be surprised. I hope someone tells me the exact number of Batmans and post it in the comments, because that would be the funniest possible outcome, and I hope it's like a lot. So yeah, Batman here is not bad. Looks like he's based on that Nightfall Batman, and I'm not complaining. That's a pretty good body. I mean, that's like the best Batman body ever, so if you're gonna reuse a Batman body, I guess that's the one to go with. The cell shading on this one is really good. I love what they're doing with it. Like, I'm just looking at it from far away, and up close it probably doesn't look right, but like far away, oh man, that looks great. Those grays are just right, and like the blues are very sparkly. This is the sort of thing that they should have done with Superman's look. Why is Batman's cell shading looking so much better than Superman's? Does Todd have a vendetta against Superman or something? Like, come on man, this is crazy. The worst thing about this action figure is that Batman looks like he has to take a dump. Like, get this bro some Metamucil. Feed this man some fiber bars, for God's sake. Make him some whole grain toast. Give him a bowl of fruit. He's trying to drop off some robins at the Batcave, but Joker's got his crowbar. Love that he's got a cloth cape, too. I mean, come on, it's a cloth cape. Yeah, total win. I love that they're doing this. Looks great on him, doesn't look cheap at all. That's a really nice feature. But, oh dear God, that head sculpt. Looks like Batman comes with the arms of Darkseid and a couple of special effects. Wow, what a shocker, right?
And of course, the final action figure in this wave is Darkseid, and this is a Darkseid if I've ever seen one. He even has the wrestling trunks instead of the little skirt that Darkseid usually wears. But also he has a wonderful sculpt. He has all these little textural details all over his arms and his clothing, and his face has the ugliest scowl you'll ever see. And honestly, the cell shading is really working on this one. They did a nice job on it. It looks presentable. And like I say, if you look at him from a distance, I think he's gonna look pretty much like he did in the video game. Of course, I'm also gonna say don't get your hopes up on this, because Build-A-Figures from McFarlane in the past have been pretty gnarly. Hopefully they've gotten better, but I wouldn't be so sure about that, because every single one I've handled from them has had something anything wrong with it. But, you know, fingers crossed, right?
Well, Soulmates, now that we've seen these Justice League Task Force action figures, which characters would we like to see next? Well, there's only 4 characters we could really see here. There's Wonder Woman, Green Arrow, Despero, and Cheetah. So I guess you could do a mega figure and 3 regular releases, but other than that, I guess that's about it for Justice League Task Force, right? I guess if you really want to, you could do palette swaps of all the Justice League to represent the evil version of their characters from the game, but I don't know if anyone's gonna buy that.
Well, Soulmates, what do you think of this Justice League Task Force wave of DC Multiverse action figures? Are these ones that you want for yourself? Are you kind of on the fence about it? Or are these just not really your thing for whatever reason? I don't know, guys. Let me know what you think down in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching, guys. Check out my other videos in the meantime, and I'll catch you again soon. Bye-bye, everybody.